I'm back. Back with the savant himself. I convinced him to join me, Rob.
Yo.
What's up, man? Man of the hour here.
Clocking in overtime right now, bro.
That's right, man.
You gotta pay me time and a half.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah. We'll pay you to give us some time. Welcome to the trading show, guys. Usually it's me. I asked Rob to sit in for like 5 minutes. So we're currently in a trade. So this is a Rob trade, okay? And this was our optimism. We're at a 12x leverage long. And so those of you that watch the morning show and you don't miss content, well, if you followed here, which I'm not saying you should follow everything we do, but if you decided, hey, I agree with Rob, I want to enter into an optimism long. Hopefully you did it on one of our platforms that we are affiliated with. If not, there's links in the description. So let's take a look at an optimism chart together, Rob, and you tell me what are some levels you're looking at. I know you mentioned 70 cents, but that would be almost a 2x from here. And what are some levels? This is 100% your trade. So if you want to take some profit off the table at any point, we can put some limit orders in. The guy literally, we entered in on the exact bottom here at 44 point some cents. And let's take a look on the daily. The momentum indicators are starting to rebound. Money flow is starting to curve back up. We want that crossover back into.
You're gonna hit resistance at 50 cents. It's no surprise that you're seeing a bounce and pullback. My thing is I think it's still massively undervalued for where it should be prior to the Bitcoin pullback that we had on Friday. And so I feel extremely confident it'll break above 50 cents. And when it does, it's going to get into a price discovery. I mean, it's just going to rally, right? It's going to rally past 50 cents. It's not going to pull back and fall under 47 cents. It's just value's not there. I look at it from a value proposition. Also, you got Bitcoin over 115,000, which is signaling to me that it's going to continue altcoins push, right? Altcoin breakouts push, especially undervalued alts. I'm not surprised it's hitting 50 cent resistance. I don't know how long it takes to get to 70 cents. Could it be a short move? Perhaps. But
tons of volume at 70 cents, by the way, right? This is your largest volume node at 71.6 cents. I would like to note, though, we're approaching 55 cents, which you have another large volume node. You also have this big fair value gap that was created from the big drawdown we had.
There's not enough interest there's not enough sentimental interest when it comes to optimism for me to say that within the next 48 hours it moves up to 70 cents. I don't see it. But could it go from 50 to 58 cents? I think so. And so if this was my trade, I'd be looking for an exit position between 55 and 58 cents.
Okay, so what would you like to do? 50. So I got a stop loss in
57.5.
0.575. This would be a 245% trade with a net profit of $487. So that TP is in. Those of you, again, that did put this trade in as well, those are our levels. Our stop loss is set at 46.1 cents. And our take profit right now is 57.5, which, again, if you look at the chart, really, though, I mean, I don't know. You're talking about that level is like halfway through this gap. So if we end up filling the gap, right, we're halfway there. But there's a big gap in volume here, right? And that's from 49 cents, which we're at now, all the way up to 66 cents. So I don't know. Volume tells us we should see a clean break and a sweep of these levels and should start to catch some resistance around 66 to like 72 cents. But, it's funny. I was telling Rob earlier this morning before we started the show, I said, hey, man, my experience with this cycle, whatever profit targets you have, reduce them by 30%. And so reduction by 30%, if we try to nail that big volume node at around 66 to 72, is around 57 cents, maybe a little bit lower. And so, yeah, we expect this to be a profitable trade. Another one Rob mentioned was Radium. So we can take a look at a Radium chart. And Rob, feel free to, you can bounce whenever you want, my friend. You're more than welcome to stay and hang out, though. Rob mentioned Radium. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, your big thing with Radium was the fact that it was one of the bigger ones that were down, correct? Or that was outside the top 100?
Yeah, it's just also something that was in the top 100 and it's been booted out. It's also, I mean, one of the strongest layer twos, or, you know, the strongest Solana plays. And you know, I've been bullish on Radium historically. I think I was talking about it 3 weeks ago or maybe a month ago, and it hasn't really performed well, and it's still down. So I'm still in on Radium. I think that it will perform well. I think it'll bounce back. The problem is that Solana hasn't had a big breakout moment since early in the year. And, you know, you look on the yearly chart, it had that big breakout to 250, and then it kind of got there again. The altcoin ecosystem in Solana didn't perform well. So for me, I didn't see a big breakout in Solana, the ecosystems, the memes, the dexes. And, you know, essentially Radium is a dex play. So you're going to need to see interest in meme coins, particularly meme coins on the Solana ecosystem for something like Radium. And so when this takes off again, once you see this new price discovery, maybe you get a $350 Solana or $400 Solana, and people are buying meme coins, the clear-cut winner for me there is Radium.
I will say, though, this is strictly from a technical standpoint. What we're seeing with Radium on the daily here, at least from market side for B, is there's a divergence here. We saw a really nice bounce with the RSI and the stochastics. We hit this bottom here around 22, but money flow continued to expand to the downside. So a little bit of a divergence, a discrepancy. So just keep that in mind. Are we going to start seeing money flow make a sharp U-turn and start to work its way back up and cross into the green again? We've been deep in the money flow since about a week ago. We briefly got back into the green and then came right back down. So that's just one thing to keep your eye out on. If we continue to see Radium go up in price, the momentum indicators go up in value, but our money flow continues to go down. That is one thing to keep in mind. Careful of potential longs. Again, that is just what our indicators are telling us. Nothing on market side for A. Let's zoom in to the 4-hour time frame on Radium here. Catching a really, really nice bounce. See, this was a level of resistance. This is why volume matters, you guys, right? People talk about liquidity and volume. Throw on your VRVP, and that should give you your very first support and resistance levels. And it'll give you a nice red line that extends all the way through the chart. And in this case, it's sitting right at $1.99. Right here, $1.98.5. Resistance came back, retested as support, seeing a really nice bounce on increased volume. So, in fact, we are going to put in a limit long on Radium at 198.5 as we expect another bounce there. Let's go into by DeFi here. Radium. By the way, guys, my recommendation is never do cross margin. That's how a lot of people got their entire portfolios completely liquidated. I like to do isolated margin. If the trade goes against me, then the trade goes against me. This one, we're going to bump it up to 15x leverage, and we're going to do a limit order at $1.98.5 cents, and we'll do that with 200 margin. Limit, yes, long. Okay. So our open orders, we have a Radium limit long order waiting to be filled at 198.5. If it fills, And then we have a optimism TP and an optimism stop loss. TP 57.5, stop loss sitting at 46.1 cents. And so that's one thing. But again, I'll be keeping my eye out on the daily at the very least on that divergence between money flow and literally everything else, price action. So yeah. Also, if there's anything you'd like me to take a look at, you guys, in terms of price action, maybe some fundamental analysis, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. Please do me a favor and throw it in the chat, as I got it right in front of me. Well, this way in front of me. And I'll be going to the chat from time to time. Now I got to remember. Give me 1 second. Sorry, I had to go around and check what's on the thumbnail. Bittensor and Zcash. We'll take a look at those as well. I mentioned pretty bummed out my Bittensor long got fucked. Not because of me not having proper risk management. It was because everything got liquidated, but this would have been a massive trade. One of my bigger ones since I started trading on Buy DeFi. On the daily, just showing massive strength here, guys, and we front ran the breakout. One of the few times that this has worked out for us. We kind of longed, not the exact bottom here at this trend line, but we longed around $300. And this was back, I believe it was, well, we did actually, right here. That is where we entered. It was the 30th of September, if I remember correctly. We expected the bounce here, which we got. Pushed it to the upside, got a retracement, and this is where we got liquidated. Which is funny because my liquidation point was like 140 something or 130 something. It was below what it got down to even on the scam of it. So yeah, Diamond Hand said, why did Buy DeFi show that Bitcoin went down to 102? I'm assuming because they sourced their prices from Binance. It happened on a lot of different exchanges. So yeah, but Tau seeing a really, really strong, healthy breakout on increased volume, right? The volume went from the last run up when we met resistance down here. We had volume run up to around 58,000 Tau. And on this breakout, right? On this breakout, not even from the bottom end of the range, but from when we actually broke on this candle yesterday, we saw 300K in volume and another 250K in volume. So a solid, what is that? Almost a, no, not a 10X, about a 6, 7X. So yeah. Rooster said, I had super chatted your project. I was curious to get your perspective on a week ago. I don't remember seeing it, but what was the project? I'm more than happy to take a look at it now. Sorry if I missed it. We appreciate everyone who supports us via super chats. And so if I did miss it, it was not on purpose, but throw it in the chat and I'll look it over for you. Unless it's some sort of scam BS project. Confirmed uptrend, not yet here, according to our Heikinashi candles. Right, what do I mean? Heikinashi, if you want a confirmed trend up or down, right? If you want a confirmed uptrend, you wait for 2 consecutive candles. Oh, it was XCL, that's right. I don't, oh, it was a privacy coin. I have not looked into it, but I give you my word. Tomorrow or Wednesday, either tomorrow morning show or Wednesday trading show, I will have my thoughts. I will give you my thoughts on XCL. In fact, let me go ahead and add that to my little tasks app I have on my phone so I don't forget. XCL research for Rooster Smith. Yeah, because I don't want to give you some bullshit answer. But yeah, I'll look into it, my friend, and you have my word tomorrow or Thursday or tomorrow or Wednesday, I will give you a breakdown. So thank you for your patience. Anyways, what I was saying with Heikinashi, with Bittensor, or just in general, you wait for 2 consecutive candles. If you're looking for a long, 2 consecutive with large bodies and no wicks to the downside. So far, we have 1, and this trading session has not closed yet. So technically, this thing could get invalidated and get that wick to the downside. The second candle, depending on what tomorrow is, if today's holds, then you enter in on the open of the third for a confirmed uptrend. Same with a downtrend. You wait for 2 consecutive candles of no upper wick, as you can see here, 1, 2, you enter here, you run this thing down 16% times your leverage. And so this might be another thing where we get into another Bittensor long, depending on what we see. If we take a look at market cipher B, RSI and stochastics about to hit overbought levels, currently sitting at around 95. We did get a money flow is still in the red though, so money flow has not caught up yet, although it is making its way to cross above our zero line, get back into the green. We haven't spent any significant amount of time in the green in terms of money flow since June. It's been nothing but negative money flow as the price of Bittensor has continued to consolidate and kind of stay in this falling channel pattern, this falling wedge pattern. And it got a breakout. It blew through this massive volume node. You can see if we zoom in, where's our next levels of volume? And you can see here, and this is why I would highly recommend. Here's another big volume node here, you guys. We could drop a horizontal. I'll do it a little bit above so we can take a look. Big volume spike there, a little bit of a spike there. We have that gap between around 416 up to 428. And guess what? 431 is where we topped. SoFlo, yes, I did. I did see the connection between Tau. With Tau, Zcash, and Barry Silbert. Barry Silbert, shit went down last cycle. DCG, Foundry. There was another platform that went down. What was the platform that went down that was part of DCG? Someone throw it in the chat, because it's I'm not, my mind is, I can't grab that info from my thought bank here. And then if we zoom out, let's take a look at the 4-hour on Bittensor, seeing a little bit of consolidation here. Nice healthy pullback. Let's draw our fibs. Let's see where we can potentially get a retrace. Your 236 sits at 394, but I think the more likely one, you guys know I love to trade the 50, is your 50, which we already had a wick down here once. And you can see if I hide my trend lines here, and let's get rid of you. Let's get rid of volume. So our 50 is what we're targeting right here on a potential pullback. Not saying it's definitely going to get there, but you look, this is where Bittensor kind of bumped up, fell, came back, got rejected at the gold pocket, blew right through it, retraced to the gold pocket, flipped it to support, and then it blew right through that 50 on the way back up. And of course, on the way down, we can't really count this candle because, well, we know what happened on Friday. And then on the way down, I expect if we do come back down to sub like 380, David is the Bob Ross of chart. Take that as a compliment. Thank you. If we do come back down, I would expect a retest and a nice bounce at 356. If we do get that entry, I'll be looking for a potential Bittensor long, barring any invalidating data we see on any of our other indicators or any volume or anything like that. 4-hour, interesting. We're losing some steam here. As you can see, our VWAP is about to cross below our zero line. Let's zoom into the 2-hour, 1 hour. Money flow looks healthy on the 1 hour. Can we reclaim these highs on our momentum wave, which is currently sitting at 65.8? Momentum indicators look like they've cooled off just a little bit. Let's go down to 30-minute. 30 minutes rolling over, 21-minute rolling over, 15-minute bouncing, 10-minute down, 5-minute bouncing, 3-minute bouncing. So the super low time frames are seeing a nice bounce. Could we potentially get, this was a potential anchor trigger wave long, as this was another trigger wave here. But nothing, I don't want to get into a trade on Bittensor now. Nothing screams to me that this thing is going to absolutely explode. Let's see if we can find any divergence here on the 3-minute. Little bit of bearish divergence on the 3-minute. When I say a little bit, I mean like just barely. Right? You have your higher, if I can grab this, you have your higher low, again, barely, just barely. And then on the price action, you have a, oh no, my mind is not working right now. Never mind. We have higher low on both. I don't know what the hell I was thinking. It was a long night last night. So yeah, but what we do like to see, and what we like to, obviously, what is, gives us some hope that the bounce is going to continue, or we're going to see more upside, is the 3-minute, the 5-minute, and I believe it was the 15-minute is showing a little bit of a bounce on our momentum indicators. I'm curious to see where the VWAP goes, and I'm curious to see if we do get another massive money flow expansion like we saw here from Sunday at around 1 p.m. in the afternoon. Just a massive expansion, and we've stayed in the green outside of one little blip here. This was between 4:15 and 5 for about an hour. We crossed back into the negative money flow on the 5-minute time frame, or 15-minute time frame here on Bittensor. But this thing has looked strong. Obviously, a little bit of a pullback, and we're eyeing that 350 level, that 50% fib retracement for another potential long entry on Bittensor. Let's take a look at Zcash. Is Zcash done, or are we going to see more upside, seeing a much needed pullback? Much needed pullback, guys. Nothing goes up forever. Local rally 50 sits at 213.37. Gold pocket is 187 to 192. So those are obviously very great places to start in terms of looking for long entries, whether it's trading or spot buying, right? 213. I will split this gold pocket right down the middle, 190. So this is kind of my buy zone here, guys. This is my entry zone for Zcash for a long. You guys know the video I did last week on the top 7 alts with high upside. I don't think Zcash is done running. I said this could potentially be the new Bitcoin for the cypherpunks. Dash, massive rally. There's a few other privacy coins that saw a rally. Decred, I believe, had a rally. Railgun was up like 120% last week. And so yeah. What time frame on back-to-back candles? Tony, it doesn't matter the time frame. Obviously, the higher, what time frame? I was on the daily for Bittensor. But if you want to use that strategy, it's on any time frame. Obviously, higher time frames hold more weight and are more reliable than lower time frames. If you're going to do lower time frames, either up your margin or up your leverage, but obviously there's risks to upping your leverage. So just keep those two things in mind. But for Zcash, 190 to 213 is my buy zone, is the zone I'm targeting. If we take this fib and we stretch it down to its initial rally, where it started around $53, our buy zone shifts to 140 to 177. Less likely, could happen. If it does, again, we'll be bidding heavy here. You can see price consolidated in this area. This was about a 5-day consolidation here for Zcash, and then obviously massive run up from its low of around 123 up to its current cycle high of 298. How much higher can this thing go? Well, let's take a look at all-time high for Zcash. We're not too far away from making an all-time high in terms of price. And so be very careful. Buy the dips if you are looking for exposure, and especially if you're looking to trade. Let's look at market cipher here on Zcash. Red dot printing on the daily. VWAP just crossed into our to negative territory. Money flow though, guys, right? Look for, if you are using market cipher, which I recommend if you're not, if you're a serious trader, to invest in it and do so. Discrepancy in money flow going up, and discrepancy divergence with the momentum indicators and the price action. So opposite of what we saw with Radium, this is one I'll be looking for a potential long. Obviously, we look for a long on radium as well, but this gives us more confidence in the long that we're going to potentially be entering. But again, waiting to see what happens at the 50 and at our gold pocket on the daily. Let's zoom into the 4 hour. What is the 4 hour telling us here on Market Cipher B? Seeing a nice bounce on our momentum indicators. Money flow still in the green. And it looks like we might be getting a trigger wave here. Let me go ahead and hide our VWAP and money flow so you can see the developing trigger wave. This would be your anchor. This, depending if it stops here, great. Give us a green dot. We enter along. Seeing a nice bounce off of the momentum indicators here as well. So if you have Market Cipher, go ahead and put an alert for, go ahead and put an alert for a potential green dot on Market Cipher. Let's go ahead and throw back on our VWAP and our money flow. Especially if you see the money flow here. Obviously it's trending down now, especially if you see this thing start to reverse and go back up again, and we get the trigger wave with the green dot. Should be a really nice setup for a long. Let's check the 3 hour, see if we're seeing anything on the 3 hour. 3 hour, that momentum wave is definitely expanding further to the downside than we would like for a potential trigger wave. Right, we're not too far off from our trigger 2 line. Still have that set up on the anchor wave on the 3 hour. Let's check the 2 hour. 2 hour, that 2 hour, obviously nothing there as far as a anchor trigger long. And the 1 hour. So the 4 hour is really where we're looking, you guys. And there is. So the 4 hour, there's about an hour left. 55 minutes left. So potential long, but we're waiting. We're not going to try to front run this thing. We're going to wait for the candle to close. And if we get a long entry, we get a long entry. Also, looks like the 4 hour is flagging a little bit. Also, to keep an eye out, potential head and shoulders here on the 4 hour. So we'll see if we can take out this high here. We can take out 274. Then we have that head and shoulders invalidated. If we don't, our breakdown target, this is just briefly, look at that, would give us our entry we're waiting for on the larger move, right? The move from, what was it, 70? The move from $55 up, that would give us our entry here. If we do get that head and shoulders break down, it would hit the top end at 175, which if it does get there, I would, I'd be keen to long, probably with a lot more margin than I usually do. These waters are expensive, by the way. No, I felt the need to say that, but Roma Goma, you guys are amazing. Thank you. No, thank you. Because if no viewers, no content. Yes, viewers, yes, content. More viewers, more content. So big shout out to you guys. Appreciate it. I see Zombie Fish said Chainlink. Let's look at Chainlink. Obviously, with the washout, a lot of bear flags are printing on the daily time frame. Just keep your eye on that. Invalidation here, guys, on this bear flag. We've passed it, right? Even if I take it to this wick from yesterday or from 3 days or for, what was this, Saturday. After Friday's massacre, if we take the wick from Saturday, as of right now the candle is not closed, this potential bear flag is invalidated. We have our gold pocket sitting at 20.4 or $20.40, up to around $20.06. So keep an eye on that level. This is also a level we saw a bounce at previously, where Chainlink rallied 18%. Expect that to be resistance right off the bat until we can see a change in structure there. See if we're any corresponding volume. Not really. A little bit of a volume spike there. The larger volume notes sit above $22.50. You have two here that we should keep our eye on. One is at $22.53 and the bigger one is at $23.42. So if you are in a long, or if you're going to enter a long, make sure that you have those levels as far as take profit levels. You have those mapped out, and at the very least, if you don't want to set a TP there, have an alert and go back to the chart and see what the chart's telling you. CP said, say and Ondo. Yes, say and Ondo. Let's start with say. Say. What do you say? Damn, 6-cent wick. Say is 28.21 cents from a volume standpoint. Keep your eye on that right here. So if you're in a long, I would at least look to take some profit, if not all your profit, at 28 cents even. You can see how important that level was, you guys. And again, this is why volume matters. Once, twice, and ultimately 3 times we caught support. Now ultimately we made higher lows, or excuse me, lower highs each time, and then the big market crash. So on the way back up, expect that to be resistance until proven otherwise. This is on the weekly time frame. Okay, let's check market cipher on the weekly. Money flow is teetering at 0. Ideally, we want to see this thing U-turn and go back up. RSI clipped. It looks like it's attempting to make another bounce. Closer to overbought than oversold, obviously, as it's sitting at 42 currently. Hasn't hit any of our overbought levels yet. Let's check the daily. Ooh, bullish crossover on the VWAP on the daily. Money flow still deep in the red though, minus 17. Potential setup for a anchor wave, trigger wave long here, depending on where this momentum wave comes. And if we do get clipped out before we hit that 0, get that other green dot, and then hey, we're in a long. Momentum looks strong, VWAP looks strong, but there's a discrepancy in money flow, so we'll keep our eye on that. Let's go to the price action here on say on the daily. Clean up the chart here a little bit. Again, weary of potential bear flag patterns here. Far away from a confirmed uptrend. $12 hour looks pretty good actually. 12 hour shows us a nice rounded bottom. We want to see this volume increase on this 12-hour trading session, which has about 4 hours and 50 minutes left to go. And again, guys, 28 to 29 cents. Keep your eye on that level for a potential resistance bounce. Nothing clear on the 6, nothing clear on the 4. Increasing volume on the 4 hour though, that's good. Let's check market cipher on the 4 hour. Now this one might be a potential short here on market cipher on the 4 hour. If we get that trigger wave that gives us a short entry here. Here's your anchor, potential short. Here's your second trigger wave, which, if you played that out, that would have been real nice. Look at that. This is your trigger. And well, of course, no one knew what could happen, but 37% moved to the downside. And the second one was Ondo. I haven't looked at a chart in a while. I'm curious to see what Ondo's chart looks like. because it had a really nice rally and then it kind of just fizzled. Looking at Ondo on the weekly. Weekly's getting rejected right here. Volume matters, right? It's a pretty basic saying, but I mean, just look. You could be a very inexperienced trader and you just have one indicator here, your VRVP. I've had some people ask, here are my inputs. You know, you can pause it, take a screenshot, whatever you want to do. If you want to make it look exactly like how I have it on my chart. And rejection right here at 82.4, yeah, 82.75 cents. And that is where a lot of our volume has come in from. That's on the weekly time frame. Weekly consolidation, you take a look, volume has been decreasing. A little bit of a symmetrical triangle here, which if we were to 2026 January, if this thing completes, that's where it should stop. Let's see market side for A if it's telling us anything on the weekly. No. Let's go down to the daily here on Ondo. We've already gotten a bounce here on a wick. We've tagged the bottom end of this trend line here, and we expect to run back up. Now, your daily volume node sits at 92 cents. So if you are going to enter in on a long, if you're going to get in a long, if we can get another test of this like 80 cent level, 78 to 80 cent level, nice long entry here, and you run this thing back up to that 91.9 cents, which is where our large volume node sits. That's a 16% gain multiplied by your leverage. And so I'll be eyeing this level here. Cool. Got an alert order there. And then let's take a look at market cipher B on the daily on Ondo. Momentum looks great, both on the VWAP, but again, money flow deep in the red. Let's see if this thing, okay, so money flow in this instance versus what we saw with like Radium, you see a sharp turn, but it's kind of flattened out. Are we going to get a kind of a rounding out here, back up, and let's get back over into the green here on the money flow for Ondo on the daily. Momentum looks great on the daily. Put in a higher low on the RSI. Potential for a anchor trigger wave long setup here, but this is going to take some time before we see that play out, if it does. Let's zoom into the 8-hour. Look at the, oh, this is a 45-minute. Look at the 1 hour. 1 hour just gave us a long entry. Oh, we might be, So here's your entry signal: anchor, trigger, green dot, candles closed, currently in the trading session now. Massive money flow expansion and the VWAP, and everything is telling us yes. Let's check market cipher B. Maybe this will be a long trade we put in now. Market cipher is telling us to go long. Liquidity tells us to wait, right? 22 million Ondo was sold at around 83.6 cents. Right, you have confluence with this large volume node, and then you take a look on the hour time frame, going back to yesterday at 2 p.m. Pacific time. One rejection, two rejection. Are we going to get a third rejection? And so I would like to see Ondo get to like 84 cents. If it does, and we get increased volume and increased money flow on the lower time frames, that I'll be looking to enter long on this one. So yeah, potential Ondo long, Bittensor long if we get down to 356. And the other one we looked at was not Chainlink, not Say we're looking for a short. David said I'm up 112% on Ondo. Great, good shit, bro. CP, $20 super chat. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate you, brother. You've been super chatting a lot lately, man. Thank you. Appreciate your support. Bitcoin looking like it may have a little pop. Let's take a look. Is Bitcoin about to pop? 115.5. Let's check the bubbles. Our bubbles. Hourly leaders pumped off fun up 3.3%. SPX up 4.1. Not a lot of red. Let's check the daily. Damn, this one's 61. I know this is one Crypto Face has been trading a lot. He was killing it yesterday on the stream. It was at like 14 bucks. $7. Very volatile. Daily looks good. Synthetics up, Tau still up 12%, Athena up 12%, Story IP up 22%. But let's take a look at a Bitcoin chart. First, my phone's blowing up. Let me check. It's my wife. Let me make sure there's nothing crazy happening. Wow, even my wife's getting bullied. It's fucked up. All right, Bitcoin hour. Let's get rid of you, high volume points. Oh, there's another anchor trigger wave long here on Bitcoin that so far has been playing out pretty good. Thanks, Market Cipher. 1% so far. And we've crossed our 1 hour volume node here. We broke it on increased volume. 116.9. Let's go down to the micro time frames. You know what? I like this. I like this PA. All right, BTC long in. Our optimism trade is currently 50% of the profit. Shout out to Rob again. This one, I think our margin was 200. Yeah, 200. So made $100 so far. Not too shabby. Not shabby. We got a Bitcoin long in right now, 25x leverage. Let's go ahead and tell our Discord people. If you're not part of our Discord, I recommend you join. It's completely free. If you want the trading chat here, BTC long entered with 25x leverage. Cool. And then now all you got to do is go in here, click on get VIP access, and then you just got to create a Buy DeFi account. Put $100 in to trade with the money you trade with. You don't give any money to us. And then just verify UID, and then you automatically given all these. And it's not, the cool thing about this one too, is it's not just my trades, but it's also, they have a consortium of the top traders on Buy DeFi. You get their trades as well. And so you get the best of both, myself and Buy DeFi's top traders as well. And so, yeah, go join again. It's completely free. But BTC in a long, optimism in a long, obviously our sentiment, our direction, our bias is currently long. David said, Link's pissing me off. Break 20. 20 is a big number. And Cryptic Mushroom said, this music makes me want to turn into an owl. Who? Who? All right. I think I'm done. I think I am done. Nice volume on the 5-minute. Bitcoin's going to 117. Bitcoin is going to 117. All right, that's all I got. Thank you all very much. Make sure you sub to the channel. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays are the trading show. Monday through Friday is the morning show where we cover more news, and it's kind of like a talk show. We have fun. So make sure to join us. I love you guys. Until tomorrow. Peace.